Okay, first and foremost, good morning to all my students. I hope that all of you are healthy in the paying of health. Okay, so today we will learn a new chapter for your wedding planning and management. That is topic number 4. That is the changing family politics and law. Okay, into the chapter, we will learn how the marriage action actually influencing the pattern of family, the pattern of politics, and also the pattern in law. All of these things actually due to the marriage itself. Okay, so we will go one by one and search for the learning outcome. Okay, so actually we have 3 learning outcome for today. First is female workforce dynamic. Okay, so today we will learn how female that how the increase in the number of female in the workforce actually changing the pattern of family, changing the politic, and also changing the law, where the law and also politic, the policy in the politic, okay, encourage women to get married, because right now women are eager to work. Okay, number 2 is divorce. Okay, right now divorce is common thing. Because of this thing, it become an issue, because we afraid that a country afraid that this divorce number will increase day by day, year by year. Therefore they have a policy or policy that regulate this divorce activity, and also the law that try to limit the number of divorce every day, every week, every year. Okay, and last but not least is intercultural and interfaith marriage. Okay, why intercultural and interfaith marriage changing the family? Why is change the politics? Why the intercultural and interfaith also changing law? Okay, all of these kind of question we will answer one by one within this slide. Okay, so in the slide you can see that expanding parameter of what constitute family and the involving expectation of each member is become common today. Okay, before this we believe that the only definition for family is father, mother, daughter, son. That is one perfect family. However, nowadays, okay, what constitute family, what define family have increased. People will consider stepmother, stepdaughter, stepson also as family. Robot also can be known as family after this. Okay, so why robot, sir? Why stepmother, also stepdaughter or stepson also known as family? Okay, so after this, I will discuss why this thing, okay, why that thing that I mentioned before this, stepmother, stepdaughter, stepson, and also robot, and also sometimes rental relative also known as family. Okay, so what causing this thing to happen? Okay, so there are 3 things, just like I said before. First is female workforce dynamic, the increase of female working, and the increase of female that pursue for education. Okay, number 2 is the divorce. Okay, when the husband and wife is separate from each other, it causes the change in the family. Okay, last but not least is intercultural and interfaith marriage. Okay, after this, we will discuss what is mean by intercultural and interfaith marriage, although we have discussed it on the few chapter before this. Okay, first and foremost, we will discuss the female workforce dynamic. Okay, nowadays, the number of female that are working is increased, okay, year by year. You not believe me? Okay, after this I will show you the number that increase, that show the increment of women that are working. Okay, So women educational attainment and career opportunity have improved dramatically for the past few decades. Okay, before this, women are not really into working because they are more rely on the male. They are more rely on the husband. But right now, there are a few ideology that cause this kind of thing to change. For example, more women want to be independent. They do not want to rely on the male. And also, more women are bring the feminism kind of philosophy. They believe in the woman empowerment. Okay, stop. We don't need men. We just need ourselves to be working and find money. This kind of thing cause the female workforce to increase year by year, especially in US and also Western country. For example, Hong Kong, Egypt, Singapore, and Japan. Okay, so you can see on the table, okay, the increase of number of women that are working from 1980 to 2009. Okay, in Australia, you can see on 1980, the number of the percent of women that are working only 52.5%. And suddenly it increased 20%. Okay, 20% is a big number. On 2009 into 71.4%. And actually in Australia is where the female workforce are dominating the male. Okay, in Western kind of country, for example, in Japan, 54.8% only women that are working during 1980. And right now, and 2009, it increased in 68.5. Okay, Switzerland, one of the most modern country in the world, 45.3% on 1980 and increased immediately 30% to 82.8 in 2009. And last but not least is also United Kingdom. You can see how many increment of the women that are working. Okay, this kind of thing is a very good actually because the women that are working are increased. But actually this kind of thing also give a negative impact. Okay, so what is the negative impact that happen when the female are increased in the working? Okay, so you can see in the point number 1, highly educated women often delay marriage. Why? Because they want to focus on their education. Okay, for example, diploma is actually 3 years, 3 year and something like that, 3 years and a half. Okay, degree is 4 years. For example, if you are starting your degree, if you are starting your diploma in 20 years old. Okay, so in diploma only you will graduate on 24. Okay, when you end your degree, it all usually 4 to 3 years, 27. Okay, master is 1 year and a half, 28. And last but not least is PhD, 5 years, 32, 33, something like that. Okay, they delay marriage because they want to focus on education. Okay, after their focus on the education have ended, they have to focus on the new thing, that is your career. Okay, when you have just start your career, you don't want to get married because the moment you get married, you will get pregnant. When you get pregnant, it will disturb your dynamic on your working experience because you have to get many holidays, and the employee also do not want to hire someone that are pregnant because it will decrease their production. So this kind of thing give a negative impact, especially in Japan. So you can see in our case study right now in Japan, delay marriage often lead to 3 things. Okay, first and foremost, spike in loneliness and depression. The moment you marry late, you will feel very lonely. Every time you go home, there are no one who will make you happy because you are alone. And also when the thing happen, when loneliness happen, it will cause depression. You feel very depressed because you do not have someone to express your emotion. Okay. Number two is increased demand in rental relative. Okay. Because you are very lonely, you do not have your pasangan, you don't have your husband, you don't have your wife. Okay. You rent a relative. Sometimes when there are some party that need to bring plus one, okay, you need to bring a couple, a person come to you because you are single. You don't have to one. You do not have someone to bring. But because there are something that known as a rental relative right now, okay, you can rent somebody that are very popular in Japan right now to accompany you to go for celebration, maybe some party, maybe some activity or entertainment activity, something like that. Okay. And last but not least is increased demand in therapeutic Babylon. There are robots. Okay. Right now, the technology in Japan is very, very advanced. Okay. In Japan, there are some robots that are mimicking a woman, a real human. Okay. Humanoid. And also robotic pets that know what is the emotion. They are very intelligent. They're also known as AI, artificial intellectual, okay, AI, okay. This kind of thing also increase in demand because women are late in marriage, okay. Next, we will talk about divorce, okay. Divorce actually a good thing, but also a bad thing, okay, because some divorce is protecting the woman or protecting the man. Some divorce is not good because you are fling with someone else. You have a relation with someone else. So by the end of the day, you need to get divorced. Okay. So divorce actually change the way of family pattern, the way of policy, the way of a country law. Okay, so we will discuss the concept of divorce in every country. Okay, in United States of America, okay, the divorce is quite easy to obtain. You can get the divorce quite easy because of this regulation known as no fault divorce law. Okay, you have to remember the law, no fault divorce law. Okay, so what actually no fault divorce law is very hard, okay, to pronounce. Okay, no fault divorce law is the moment either wife or husband do something, for example, cruelty, adultery, abandonment, abusement, imprisonment to the wife or to the husband, okay, and you can prove it, you can bring the proof of abusement, yes, you can obtain the divorce, okay, but to find the evidence of the fault is actually very difficult. Therefore, they want to regulate so that people will not lie when they get divorced in America. Okay. Number two, Taiwan. Okay. Taiwan is just like America. There are some law that will that make divorce become easier. That is Civil Code 1996. Okay. This actually make this law on 1969, the Civil Code, okay, have caused an increase in divorce rate in Taiwan. Okay, but Taiwan also very popular with LGBT kind of marriage. That's why there are increase in the divorce rate. Okay, LGBT is lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender. Okay, Malta. Okay, Malta is one of the country that ban divorce. Okay, but you can get divorced. But how in Malta? You can get divorced in Malta, but the divorce procedure must be done on the other country. Okay, when the other country, when you have done the divorce in the other country, you go back to Malta, you actually not husband and wife anymore, but you cannot do the divorce procedure in the Malta country itself. You have to go out from the country. and you come back to the country, okay? Or you need to do a petition to get divorced, okay? You have to get signed from a number of people so that you are allowed to get divorced in Malta, okay? In Islamic country, so for example in Malaysia is also known as Islamic country, okay? In Islamic country, the only people, the only side that have the right to give divorce is the husband, okay? Because in Islam we believe that the only people, the only side that have the emotional stability is the male, okay? Because the women have their own period, have their own menstrual cycle, okay? When the menstrual cycle or period come, okay, the emotion of woman is very unstable. Therefore, the divorce right is only for husband, okay? But the woman can ask for divorce, which mean the right to get divorced, but the deny to get right for the heritage will be nullified. You cannot get anything when you ask for divorce in Islam, okay? Number 5 is China. In China, it's quite surprised, okay? Because in order for you to get for divorce, you have to ask from your employer. It's quite awkward if you want to ask, boss, I want to get divorced. But it is some tradition in China. If you want to get divorced, okay, you need to ask for employer, okay? And last but not least, in Philippines and Vatican City, okay? In Philippines and Vatican City is the only two country that ban divorce in the world. You cannot get divorced in Philippines or you cannot get divorced in Thailand. So in Vatican City, okay? So in these two countries, you cannot get divorced, okay? Last but not least, we will talk about divorce and second marriage, okay? After you get divorced, you are known as divorcee, okay? Divorcee, okay? If you are divorced, if a divorcee want to get married, that marriage is known as second marriage, okay? As divorce has become common right now, so to second marriage, okay? Planner have to be very sensitive on the second marriage, okay? Sometimes the new couple for the second marriage do not want to think about their past experience, the first marriage, because it is very sad, it is very heartbreaking for them, okay, to think the divorce experience, okay, the first marriage that they have, okay. Therefore, the planner have to be very sensitive and very intelligent to tackle this kind of problem, okay. When the moment the second marriage happen, there will be a blending family introduction. What is mean by blending family? Blending family is happen because of the second marriage, okay. For example, the husband have a son and daughter. The wife is someone that are virgin, they are not yet married, okay. Therefore, when the marriage happen, the wife have to accept the daughter and the son as their stepson and stepdaughter. This kind of things is known as blending marriage, okay. And last but not least, the last subchapter for this chapter is intercultural and interfaith marriage, okay. Intercultural and interfaith marriage happen because of these few things. There are 4 factors that cause this kind of thing to be happen. For example, first is expanding attraction with individual of diverse ethnicity. Okay, right now the platform for us to interact with someone that outsider is very wide. You can use Instagram to talk to someone that are in British, in London, in Paris. You can also interact with someone who are very far in Egypt or someone like that using Facebook, using Gmail, using Twitter, all the kind of thing. Because of this kind of thing, the introduction or a love story happened in the social media, for example. Okay, this kind of thing will lead to intercultural and interfaith marriage. Okay, number two is increased religion tolerance. We are not living just like in the few years before. In the few years before, people are very sensitive about the religious. Okay, you cannot marriage with someone that Islam, something like that. But right now, the tolerance for the marriage is increased. People start to acknowledge changing of religion, changing of culture, something like that. Okay. Number three is widespread of access to transportation. Okay, compared to a few years before. Okay, there are no aeroplane. There are only ship. Okay, there are no really wide network of transportation. But right now, you can go anywhere just for a few hours. Okay, therefore, if you have a LDR, long distance relationship, it's not really a barrier to get married. Okay, and last but not least is the influence of global economy. Because of the influence of global economy, there are investment from outsider. Okay, for example, the Japan company invest in Malaysia company. When you are working for that kind of thing, sometimes you will fall in love with your co-partner, maybe something like that. The love happen during your business. Okay, as an event planner, as a wedding planner, you need to know how to tackle this kind of thing, because intercultural and interfaith marriage is not easy. Okay, it involves a lot of culture, a lot of tradition, a lot of different kind of aspect in marriage. Okay, therefore there are three tips, okay, actually how you can do and manage this intercultural and interfaith marriage. Okay, first and foremost, you have to recognize the person that involved in the planning of the wedding, and you have to know their unique identity, and also you have to know the cultural lens. Okay, when you recognize the people that involved in planning, for example, their family, their auntie, their uncle, something like that, they have their own identity, and you have to show and you have to put their identity in the wedding. You cannot neglect that kind of culture. Okay, number two, if you have to involve both family. For example, the husband is Chinese, the wife is Indian. Okay, you need to be fair to both of people. You need to include all kind of culture in the wedding, in this decision making. You cannot only bias to the Chinese side, because you are Chinese wedding planner. You only put emphasis on the Chinese part. How about the Indian? You are neglected them. Therefore, this kind of thing will cause a very, very big problem if you are neglected on one person only. Okay. Number three is you have to respect the custom. Okay, although they are very complicated, okay, you have to carry out properly. Okay, because there is kind of custom, this kind of culture, this kind of tradition are very complicated and very sensitive. Okay, you have to fully respect, and you not saying any complaint. If very complicated like this culture, why not we make it very simple? No. Okay, some culture bring their own meaning. Therefore, you have to respect the meaning behind the culture. Okay, so that is the end of the slide for today. Okay, so if you have